Project 613, day 92. We're in the middle of learning the laws, the mitzvahs associated with marriage and setting up a Jewish family. Mitzvah number 1 for today is the specific instruction that a Jew should marry a fellow Jew. Intermarriage is not allowed in Judaism. Next, if someone who is not born Jewish converts according to halacha, converts properly, so then a Jew is allowed to marry such a person. That's called a ger tzedek, a righteous convert. However, the Torah states that there are 4 nations who harassed the Jewish people at a time when they were most vulnerable, before they entered the land of Israel. And as a result of this history with these nations, therefore, even if someone converted from one of these nations, there are certain prohibitions with regard to marrying these people. So let's start with the nations. Let's start with Egypt, for example. The Egyptians, they were the ones that enslaved the Jewish people. And the Torah says that if an Egyptian converts to Judaism, a Jew should only marry this person's grandchild. In other words, since the Egyptians were so nasty to the Jewish people, therefore, we try not to marry into that family, even if they converted to Judaism. Only the 3rd generation is considered far enough from the source in order to be welcome into the family. The same applies to the Edomites. They were a nation that lived near the borders of Israel, who harassed the Jewish people for no good reason. And if someone converts from Edom, also, we only marry their grandchild. There were 2 nations, Ammon and Moab, that they harassed the Jewish people to such an extent that the Torah says that any male that converts from these 2 nations, Ammon and Moab, is not allowed to marry within the Jewish people, within the Jewish family, no matter how many generations passed from the conversion. However, females, women that come from Ammon and Moab, are able to marry into the Jewish family immediately. In fact, King David's grandmother, Ruth, came from the nation of Moab, and she was welcomed immediately into the Jewish family. These 4 laws with regard to the Egyptians, the Ammonites, the Moabites, and the Edomites does not apply today, because thousands of years ago, these nations assimilated into other nations, and therefore we do not know exactly who comes from what. And therefore today, any person that converts to Judaism is welcome into the Jewish family immediately. Moving right along, if there is an unfortunate scenario where a person had sexual relations with someone that he is prohibited from having relations with, and they give birth to a child, that child is a mamzer, a bastard, and also such a child is not able to marry into the normative Jewish families as well. A castrated man is not allowed to marry, and in general, castration is prohibited. Whether we're doing castration on a human or an animal, the Torah prohibits it outright. Thank you for watching. More tomorrow.